Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Becky.
So we were both going to university in North Vancouver, which is obviously north. It's just at the like kind of at the base of the mountain.
Mhm.
Um, and so you obviously have to cross a bridge to get there. Um, and we were both away from our families because both of our families were living about 45 minutes to an hour east of where we were. So we were both alone, and we realized we both lived about 3 blocks away from each other. And we were the only ones living there out of our class. And then we started hanging out, and then I sent Emily a voice note of me singing because she was sad. So I sang a song for her. I don't even remember what it was. And she was like, oh my God, we need to jam. So she brought over her guitar and we started doing some covers. And then eventually we started writing music together. And then it just kind of grew naturally from there. And yeah, and then we ended up living together while we were in university for the second year. And we were able to work a lot on the band then, and yeah, it just kind of it started very naturally, and it was really nice.
I've been me, I've been bad, I need
So we
love.
met in 2011. We started making music, I believe, in 2012.
That's
So
a
it's
long
been
relationship. You have 10
yeah,
years.
it's been about 10 years, but we've had a lot of like metamorphosis, and we've changed and evolved so many times that I feel like we truly didn't get to where we are now uh, until about 5 years ago is when we truly became Hollow Twin. So that's kind of like I feel like the first 5 years were really us just kind of figuring out our dynamic and our sound and what we want to 10 years, do. So I would, yeah. I mean, we started together 10 years ago, but I would say Hollow Twin truly was born 5 years ago.
I need love. I've been me, I've been bad, I need love, sweet love.
Our original name was actually a mix of Emily's middle name and my middle name.
Mhm.
And so I'll tell you what it is in a second, but um, we were touring across Canada, or we toured to Quebec, and almost everyone there speaks French.
Mhm.
And so we played shows. We played a show in Montreal, but trying to tell people what our band name was when it was that first band name, no one could pronounce it, and we just like had a when we said it, they just didn't hear it properly. It wasn't clear enough. So the name was Chatterton Eve. But Emily's middle name, she has two middle names. One of them is Chatterton. It's a very, it's a very British word.
Mhm.
We know a lot of British words are like a lot of British English is very difficult to pronounce, like Worcestershire sauce, like the sauce. It's so hard. So we thought we would come up with a name that was easier to pronounce for people of other cultures, especially because if we're touring, we wanted it to be accessible for other people, and not. I didn't want it to feel like we were closed off to other people. And so we were sitting in the airport in Montreal waiting to get our flight home, and we were like, hey, we got to change our name. This did not work. So we wanted something meaningful, and so Hollow is another way to say valley. And so the area here that Emily and I have roots in, where our families is called the Fraser Valley. And then Twin, because Emily and I always felt very connected in our souls. like maybe we were related in a past life. So yeah, it just, and then it was just a bit easier for people to recognize and pronounce.
So you're the one writing the lyrics?
Yeah. So I write the lyrics, and then sometimes I'll come up with a basic chord progression. I'm a terrible instrumentalist. I'm awful, and then I send it to Emily, and then Emily takes it and turns it into a proper song.
Folk represents different things to people in different countries and different parts of the world. So what is folk to us here, maybe in the south of Europe, is different than in Europe, or maybe different from country to country. And when I read this, just reading this, just Hollow Twin is a dark folk rock band.
Yeah.
So, or how do you describe this dark folk rock band?
We always felt we didn't fit just into folk, the folk genre, because our music has a bit of a darkness to it that a lot of folk, like we didn't hear in a lot of folk music in Canada. In Canada, a lot of folk music is very happy and upbeat, and our music is not like that. It's not to say that we're not happy, but it's just that the way we express ourselves is different. And so because we use elements of like really soft harmonies and kind of deeper, lower instruments underneath everything, and our chord progressions are considered haunting, and then I think that's kind of what it is. It's that it's just a little bit darker. It has a darker element to it, and that's why we called it dark folk, which isn't actually a genre, but it's the only way we can really describe ourselves. Our latest release is Soft Hearts, which was this January, and it was an LP that we released at the end of January, and it has, I think, six or seven, 7 songs on it that we released throughout. I mean, we released the first single back in 2020, and then COVID hit.
Oh,
a lot of it is about my personal experiences with sitting with my emotions and kind of looking back on certain situations and trying to make sense of them. So that's, and a lot of it had to do with relationship.
I didn't come here for you. I cannot find my truth. And I
Mother.
And so that one is actually a story about my mom's life, and a lot of the hardships that she went through.
Do you want to tell us a bit more of that?
Yeah, for sure. So with Mother, I think a lot about things, just significant things that happen both to me and to the people around me, and I try to make sense of it a lot of the time. I try to connect it to something else, and like, why did this happen? Was it to get me to this place, to get me to somewhere else? And even though it's painful, there's to me, for me, I have to make sense of it. I have to find a purpose for it.
If you had to choose 3 of your songs that would define you, like from your past, for what you are going now, and what you want for the future, what would the 3 songs be?
So one for the past, one for now, and one for the future.
Yeah.
So the past would be The Valley on my album called The River Saw Everything.
The river tells me I'm not alone. If I think that I'm drowning, I am wrong. The ice is melting down the mountain slow. If I wait too
And that was about, I'll try to really make it quick, but that was when my stepfather was ill and starting to die. And I was out in Chilliwack, so I was away from, my friends and family. I was happy to be there with my mom and my stepdad. But there's a beautiful river right up by where they lived, and I sat there and I would just sit there and listen to the water and just be in nature. And so the first line of that song is, "The river tells me I'm not alone." And that one is truly about my experience about being somewhere and wanting to be somewhere else, but knowing that that's where I needed to be at that time, and knowing that everything was going to be fine, and it also represents a very significant time in my life where my life just completely changed.
And the second one?
The second one, so for present, I would say Walk Heavy, which is off Soft Hearts. I wrote this about my journey with body dysmorphia, so with dealing with my own self-image and accepting my body and accepting that I don't have to live up to society and media standards of what a woman is supposed to look like, and that I don't need to, go on a crash diet and get a bunch of surgery, and that's okay. If someone wants to do that, that's their life. But for me, I've been fighting with myself for so long that this song is about. It's the chorus is, "I've been mean, I've been bad, I need love, I need love." And so it's because I've been mean to myself for so long, and I've been so bad to myself that I need to love myself. And so that's my present, is that I'm really learning to love myself. And for the future, I'm not good at writing about the future. I'm so good at writing about, I can write about the past, no problem. I don't know. I don't know if I have anything for the future. I think the closest thing would be Young, off of Soft Hearts, which is, the chorus is, "We will be young forever." And it's when you're surrounded by people that make you feel whimsical and like you're a child again, and you just have so much fun and not too many worries.
What do you see when you close your eyes? Places you've never been and people.
What does Hollow Twin stands for?
I'm gonna use the word vulnerability. I think either that or authenticity, but I think it's just the truth and your own truth.
Becky, thank you so much. It was
Thank
great
you.
talking to you. Yeah,
Thanks.
give my best to Emily, and
I will.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay.
To December.